Welcome to the Back 9 Six-Pack with Mitch and Justin. Let's roll.
Hello and welcome to episode 22 of the Back 9 Six-Pack. My name is Mitch, joined as always by my esteemed colleague Justin. We're doing it live.
We're doing it very live. We're into my basement today. We've got the Ryder Cup on the TV back here. We were, an hour and a half away from our fantasy football draft, which is why this is a Sunday special. Won't be released on Monday, but a Sunday special of Back 9 Six-Pack.
Yeah, I don't even really know where to go from here. I guess my only question, since it's draft day, how many Packers will be on your roster by the end of today?
Well, it's a good question. Probably at least two. It's definitely, you'll be able to get some value with them. Obviously, losing Aaron Rodgers this year, some of their wide receivers who I think are very good. People might not draft them as high as they probably would have, just because, let's call it what it is. Love he's a question mark at this point of what they're going to have out of them. But at least two.
At least two. Okay. I'll be monitoring that throughout the day. The over-under's at 1.5.
It might even be, no, I think you probably need to set it at 2.5.
Yeah, just because as the day goes on.
The more beer I drink, the more I get homerish and, start firing off Packers left and right. So,
all right, well, then we're about to get this started now, I guess.
Yeah, we need this. Oh, we need this because
I'm not sure I need this.
I don't know about you, but I was limping this morning with a lot of stuff to do to get ready for this fantasy draft. I was down bad this morning.
I think I was more down bad yesterday after Friday night, which we'll get to.
Hungover wise, 100% yesterday was worse, but today is just like the days that we've had the last couple days. It's all accumulating to
cumulative effects, yeah. So, look, I'll get out in front of this right now and just pre-apologize to my wife. I had poor mistakes all around on my part between yesterday and this morning. I won't get into details, but I owe her everything. She's going to end up packing up the kids, getting all the pool stuff ready for our after-draft party here. So, massive shout-out to Susie.
Can I say something, though? I'm going to call you out
just
now.
Go ahead and flame me. Do it.
You decided to work out this morning instead of help out. And that's on you. Look, you don't want to help out because you got to go golfing. You don't want to help out because, football's on or something. Those are calculated risk decisions, right? The working out and not helping out, that is just, I can't even fathom that.
Yeah, I've come to realize how selfish this move was. I apologize. That's all I can do. I apologize.
Yeah, that's just a tough look for you. And here's the thing. 20 minutes on the bike, an hour on the bike, ain't going to do you no good today because we know how this is going to end. Things get rowdy at the end of the night after all-day fantasy draft and cooking out. The hour on the bike or whatever the hell you did on the bike is not going to save you today.
Yeah, it maybe bought me like 3 beers, basically, if you look at calorie count. Plus, it'll be embarrassing later when you got, the amount of times I go to the snack table. I'm such a dip guy. Yeah. I just can't stop once I start. So
you literally rode on the bike for
about
pretty much
minutes.
No reason, though.
Yeah.
But, let's call it what it is, no reason. You're not going to have a calorie deficit today, so...
you're so right. What can I say?
Yeah.
Susie's so right.
Hey, we all make bad decisions. It's okay.
Bad. All right, well, we're wrapping up the end of what is officially your weekend.
Yeah.
Which I'm done with now at this point. You know what? At first I was supporting it. Now, after yesterday, the amount of birdies and putts going in that I saw was just right in my face all day long as I was Waffle Housing every single tee shot. Just...
We got a couple of your good swings on video, though.
Thank God there's a couple bad ones, too. I need all the evidence, though, because we're going to shot tracker it all. I need to show the people what the Waffle House looks like.
Oh, we've got some good examples for the shot tracker.
I don't even think we got the worst examples, too, so that's good
for
me.
No, your first hole, that was the worst waffle ball you hit all day. That thing went
Yeah.
That thing, if it was a car going around a corner, that thing was on 2 wheels. That thing was hanging a hard left going about 65.
It was like the first corner at Dega.
It was going 65 around, taking a left-hand turn in a freaking raper van. Those things, they're like roly-polies. That thing was on 2 wheels.
That was so bad. How many birdies did you end up making?
I think 7.
Okay. Yeah, after you bogey the first hole, you're like, well, you can do that when you're going to make 9 birdies. And then we all kind of laughed, and you scared it.
I did.
Had a couple hard lip outs.
I did have a couple hard lip outs. I had a short missed one on 9 after birdieing 6, 7, and 8. I almost went 4 for 4 on the last 4 in the front 9.
Yeah.
And then once the beer started flowing, I think what got under your guys' skin in our match that we had going was every time we made a putt that meant something, I started humming 7 Nation Army. That one on 11 or 12 that Ryan made, I was like, duh, 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 duh.
I think that's what the real issue was when Ryan started to make putts too.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Just bury us.
It was a good time though. We had our whole high school team, well, most of our high school team out there.
Yeah.
There was only like maybe a couple missing.
Yeah, shout out to Shock and Phil for taking the day.
Yeah.
Was it 13 under?
Yeah.
14, yeah.
13 under total in best ball. I mean, that's net best ball is pretty good.
Yeah. That was the thing, too, is I was not net aware yesterday. I just totally did not know the stroke holes. I didn't dot the card appropriately. It was all bad.
Your guys' cart was a mess. Didn't dot the card. You guys were...
Look, I blame Nick on this. He was driving. He had the card. I wrote down who got how many strokes at the start of the day. And from that point on, it's on you, bud. You got to dot the card for me.
You guys were sad, and like it was just like it all added up over the day. You're hitting waffle balls. He started hitting some bad shots on the back 9. Then he blames me for not staying and watching him hit it out of the woods. And I was like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, I'm not your babysitter, dude. And I'm not even on your team. Like, he's like, I thought you would stay and like see where it went. And I'm like, why? And he's like, It was just bad mojo in your guys'
Our cart was, you could have called us Lewis and Clark yesterday because we were just exploring the wilderness half the day.
You guys, I swear to God, it felt like every hole one of you was looking for your ball. I mean, it was bad. I gave you guys a little confidence builder. My first 2 drives, let's talk about this. Went 180 yards and they went directly into the air. First 2.
The second one was especially, like, truly like a pop.
Oh, I think it was like...
You might have a sky mark on your driver for that one.
It almost hit the top of it. The very top of the club face, I saw where the ball hit, and I saw where the tee hit. Like, the tee hit above the sweet spot.
Yeah.
The ball was, like, pretty much on top of the club. You guys had your chances, and then we turned it on.
I thought it was going to be our day after, so Ryan hits it OB on 2. After he was
I popped my drive up. I'm 218 out.
Well, and I thought what was going to be, you guys are pulling up to 2 green after I'd hit it in there probably to like 12, 15 feet. And you guys are arguing the whole way up the fairway. We can hear you the whole time because Ryan's blaming you for giving him a bad line off the tee. Yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah, baby.
Mind you, the line that he hit 30 yards right of.
Yeah.
He's like, that was a bad line. Well, dude, when you hit it 30 yards right of the line I tell you to hit it on, there's not many courses that ball's going to be in play.
No, and I hit the ball on the line you guys said. Like, literally over top of that bunker.
Yes, you did.
And there was probably 30 to 40 yards right of me. So if his ball was gone, that's on you.
I think he hit it 30 yards right of the line, and I think he did get a pretty nasty hop. But we did not get off to a good start. We were arguing, but...
Yeah, I thought we were going to be looking good there, but then you started making every birdie possible. You almost made a freaking albatross on 4. Was it 4?
I was going to say, that turned our day around.
Yes.
We got through 3. We all fucked up 3. You guys did, we did.
Cluster.
And we get to 4, and I hit it from 265. I hit a 3-wood to 4 or 5 feet. Mm-hmm. That turned our day around because my next drive was good. Then it's like, and then I lipped out for birdie there on 6, and then it was like, birdie 7, birdie 8, or no, birdie 6, birdie 7, birdie 8, and then missed the shorty on 9. But that's when it that 3-wood. I felt like I told Ryan at the end of that, I was like, look, that's what turned the tide. Yeah, and it helped him too. He was like, all right, he's finally hitting good shots, and he could worry about himself, because I think he was a little worried about me there for a second. So I did get out over the skis on Friday night with some shots, and that's usually what brings me down.
Yeah, my fastball's gone. I've lost 4 steps. Sure, we had a lot of tall boys and stuff, but we only did 2 shots, and I was struggling Saturday morning after that.
Well, my problem, I think, you were struggling. I don't know what your struggle was. I mean, you did drink a decent amount, but not like exuberant, right?
I had to whip us into McDonald's
that was
just to like survive,
because that lady wasn't open yet at the course. That was going to be bad.
We got lucky there.
But my problem was like I did the Reds game in the afternoon. I didn't go crazy down there, but we were sitting in the diamond seats and it's free drinks and stuff like that. And then I get home and then we go to the game and I have like a little break, and then it was just like compounding. Once we got to the bar, it was like I almost didn't. It was almost like I hadn't stopped drinking for 5 hours. Then I started drinking again. It was like I just picked up right where I left
just reignited.
off.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It was like, oh, you think the fire's out? No, it's not. Gasoline.
Yeah.
And then we were taking, we took 2 shots, and that was just like, that was it. That was, I knew. And then I came home and had a couple more beers after we got done.
I don't know how you and Nick both did that, and I don't even know.
It was a mistake.
Yes, correct. That's all that needs to be said. So we played at Indian Ridge. We missed that part of it, but the weird thing for me is like this is the first time that I've played my own ball on a not Elks course this year, I think.
Oh, shit, really?
I haven't played golf outside of the Elks on my own ball. We played a scramble, obviously, at Fairfield, but it was so weird to like play a course and not know the tee shots or know what the greens are doing. Yeah, because
I think we're so used to the Elks, like we just get up there and you're like, all right, I'm hitting it here. Like I know the line I have to take. Yeah.
And like the greens honestly, there were so many straight putts out there, it got in my head so bad. I was like overreading everything for no reason.
Yeah, because like we said, like we're used to all greens that break a lot, and it doesn't matter if it's Indian Ridge, Four Bridges, Heritage, like any place up here, like or anywhere in Cincinnati, like you get out there and like they just don't break as much as we're used to. And like so you have to like take that target and like move it in, and it's hard because now you're like, well, I'm moving it in. Does that mean I have to hit it harder? And it's like, no, like it just doesn't break as much as we're used to. And I just kept telling you guys, I'm like, the sooner you realize there's a bunch of straight putts out here, the better you're going to be. Yeah. I hit so many putts dead straight yesterday.
I know you guys did, and you were burying them all.
Like unless it was like a drastic look, like I was hitting them straight, and some like a lot more than not, it did worked out. So.
Yeah. So you ended up shooting 70?
Yeah.
I shot 82, and it felt like I shot 98. Like that's how bad.
Yeah,
I was
remember you got in, and you asked me, you're like, what did I shoot? And I was like, guess what I shot? It was like 86. And you're like, well, it was 82, but it felt way worse than that.
And I somehow scored better on the back when I felt like, I guess I did birdie a hole, but like I felt like it was even worse on the back. Speaking of which, the Indian Ridge back 9 is a disgrace in my opinion.
It is.
There's way too many just like...
That architect, whoever designed... I don't know who designed the course. They were on acid when they designed the back 9.
Well, and there's just some tee shots on it. When you're not hitting it off tee like good, you're in trouble.
Oh, yeah. There's the back 9, there's some tight shots.
Force carries, trouble long. Like if you hit it too far, like you got to... Club selection's a thing.
That happened to me on one of the holes.
I don't know. That was just... I was already in my own head about off the tee game, and then the back 9 just put me into a coffin. And somehow I shot 40. But
yeah, I thought it felt a lot worse than that. But I think with us and the Elks and stuff like that, like when you go out and play something else, like our tee shots they're not easy. Like there's definitely some difficult tee shots out there. What I think when you go to another course that we don't have at our course is there are, there's less misses at other courses than ours. Like look, you can get in trouble at the Elks like pretty quickly, honestly. But when you're talking about like a course like Indian Ridge, especially, like there's a couple places you can miss big, but like for the most part, especially that back 9, like you were saying, you kind of had to thread needles. Like we're talking like landing it, like hitting it in like to a 25 to 30 yard area.
Yeah.
Or you're done. And we don't have many tee shots like that.
No. You might end up like blocked by a tree or something or whatever.
Yeah, it's a different type of penalty, right? Yes. Like it's not a lost ball. It's just going to be like, hey, you're going to have to punch out. Like, you're not going to be able to get to the green, which is essentially a penalty, but it's not like you're losing the ball, right?
Exactly.
So, we got off reservation yesterday, and if look, I love our course, but I do like getting off reservation every once in a while. And,
I think it's a reminder I need to do that more often. It's hard to, I mean, when you're playing the same course over and over, it's kind of hard to tell where your game's at, especially a course like the Elks where the greens are difficult. Like, you can get beat up pretty easily for no reason.
Pretty much, yeah.
And so it's nice to, like, feel like I shot almost 100, but it was really in the low 80s.
Yeah. Yeah, I think our course beats you up in a different way than Indian Ridge. Indian Ridge beats you up, like, with tee shots, and where our course is, like, it can really beat you up if you're not hitting greens. Like, try getting up and down from certain places is almost impossible.
Yep.
That's where you get beat up on our course, compared to, like, an Indian Ridge where it's like, hey, chipping and putting and stuff like that's really not that hard, but you have to get to that point before, off the tee before you can get to there. Because, like, there were some chip shots I thought people were dead yesterday and they got up and down. It's like, yeah, that doesn't happen at the Elks. Like, when you're in a dead spot, like, you're in a dead spot. Like, just take your bogey and go.
Yeah, for sure. All right, before we move on, anything else from Hall of Fame weekend you need to touch on?
No, I mean, obviously it was so much fun going out and we're doing stories, talking about the good old days and stuff like that. And
shout out Coach Caesar for coming out. It was great to see him.
Yeah, he came out, and he came out for a beer afterwards and ate, and he took a shot too. Surprisingly, couldn't believe it. But I said it in a Facebook post. I was like, there's not a lot of people, and I noticed this when I was getting inducted, and it's not anything on the people I got inducted with, but it's like, they had their families there. My family is going to be there. It was like, I thought I was like one of the only people that had like ex-teammates and friends. And like that, I think that's kudos to you guys and us and like our friend group. Sure. And that's what made it super special, because it was like, I had family there, but it's like, I also had my ex-teammates. And I don't think anybody else had ex-teammates there that was like, came to see them get inducted. And that's what made it special for me. But I can't, unfortunately, after today or yesterday, I can't, with Danielle, I can't use like, this is my weekend anymore. So we've officially ran out of excuses.
Yeah. Tough scene. You're excuseless at this point. Your behavior's all on you now.
It really, really is.
All right. So moving on a little bit to more of our golf stuff. League night Wednesday, you missed, but I had to put this on the record just because I'm annoyed. I made an eagle Wednesday night.
Like a gross eagle, right?
Yes. On hole 6, redemption from the 9. I was greenside in 2. I was actually debating putting it. It was that close. I don't know, probably like a 10-yard, like a 30-foot chip. Bang, back of the flagstick drops. Eagle.
I can't believe they didn't do gross skins, though.
Net skins only. Somebody made a birdie. Dude, and I'm honestly kind of shocked that it got blocked because of where that pin was.
Where was the pin at?
Dead center of that ridge in the middle of the green. Like, there was...
How the fuck did someone birdie that?
There were people 4-putting in front of us.
Oh, my God.
I swear to God, the group in front of us, we were waiting for like 15 minutes because they might have taken, like, between the 4 of them, there might have been like 14 putts taken on that green.
Oh, God.
Like, that's where the pin was.
So someone ended up birdieing that.
Someone birdied it, or maybe there's a par double pop. I don't know.
Ugh.
Tough scene. This is just how my league season's been. 1, I haven't played well, and then 2, I'm not getting a break.
It's so funny. Like, you can't win a skin, but I can't win like the team portion. Like, I haven't even come in top 7 in any week. Like,
I've been on a little bit of a heater in that regard. So I was looking at the standings yesterday just to see. I'm currently in like 16th place, which sounds far back, but
yeah, but they pay out.
I'm only like 8 points out of the top 5 right now.
Yeah,
like,
that's
it's
a really good
bunched
payout.
up.
That's a good payout if you can get in top 5.
So we're still committed. I think we got 2 weeks officially left, 3 weeks maybe. I forget.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it's 2 weeks actually.
Yeah, so fully committed to we're gonna get there. I'm doing it.
Look, I'm so far back in the standings. My only points, I think, swear to God, are skins.
Yeah, you're just getting 1 point a week for winning skins.
I'd
trade
3 points a week. I get the participation point and like 2 points for skins. That's about it.
Yeah.
But
like I said, I would trade you though, because that's cash in hand.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have to. If you come in the top, if you get paid out cash for the league, you have to wait.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, we already kind of talked last week about the Labor Day money game. You've got that tomorrow.
Yeah, we're not drafting early. We're drafting.
So you're drafting at the course. Okay.
And
do you have to draft A, B, C, D or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I'll get well, I say this like in jest, but I was looking at the tee so and you've played in these before, and you know kind of what the breakdown of the A, B, C, Ds go.
Yeah.
I think this might be the lowest handicaps we've ever had playing this because usually you'll get an A player that's like a 4.
Yeah. Oh, so okay.
Our highest A player is 1.2 as an index.
Whew. Jeez.
B players go down to only 6.8. They go from 2.7 to 6.8. And then the C players start at 7 and go to 9.6.
Gotcha.
And
how many players are in it?
Let's see, 1, 2, 3,
Approximately.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What's 8 times 4?
32.
What?
32.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, 8 times 4 is 32.
Yeah, so there's 9 groups. Is that 9 groups?
That math, it would be 8 groups, right?
Or 8 groups, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, shit. Well, I don't know. I'm not a numbers guy.
Mortgage loan officer.
I'm not a numbers guy. But I just looked at the thing. I'm like, God damn. These
yeah, it's probably because it's a smaller group. You don't have
like
some of the other. Like, I'm not playing. Sounds like I'd fit in that B group. Speaking of handicaps, after yesterday's round?
Plus 2.7 now.
All right, I'm at 6.7. I just keep hovering right around there.
Yeah, look, if we can't, I'm going to be campaigning to play off the low ball for next year's Stampede, because if we don't, it could be a bloodbath out there.
Yeah.
Unless I'm shooting 31, 32 every time out, it could be an absolute
Ryan
bloodbath.
Yesterday, 73, dropped his handicap into the 4s, I believe. Yeah. Which I think is he's correcting.
Yeah, I think honest, to be fair, he's probably about a 4 to a 5. Like, he beat me
by 9 shots yesterday, and our handicaps were within a stroke and half of each other.
Yeah, but I think realistically, he's probably now how he's playing. He did not play well last year. He was not good last year. The way he's playing this year, he's a legitimate 4, maybe 4.5.
He was hurt and or injured. I don't know which last year. So
and he came into this year. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna probably have to get surgery after the season." I'm like, and he's like, and all of a sudden he starts playing good. He's like, "It doesn't hurt anymore." I'm like, "That's not how this fucking works, dude."
He's definitely hurt then.
Yeah,
he's hurt, not injured.
But no, I'm looking. I always like the Labor Day and the Memorial Day, the ones we do, the cash ones. Those are always a lot of fun. I mean, I won the Labor Day one last year. It's a good little payout. I think we got the only skin and won last year, and it was like $700 a person. So
nice. Not a
bad day.
Well, if you putt and hit it like you did yesterday, I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, we're gonna be. Yeah, we could be okay.
Do you have to give shots back in this?
No, it's just because it's scramble. Yeah.
Oh, it's a scramble. Okay.
Yep. So it's scramble. So no shots given back.
And there's no it's not handicapped at all then, right? You're just ABCD.
No, just ABCD. And that's why, they do pari-mutuels for this, which the payouts on those aren't very big because you only have 32 people.
Yeah.
The betting thing to do is just take your top 3 A's or 4 A's and be like, okay, I'm just going to bet on them, because realistically, and not saying that some of the lower A's don't have a chance. Mm-hmm. If you get a B that plays really good, you definitely have a chance. But, realistically, with no handicap involved, if you have an A, Wes Fiddler, right? The guy, if he gets on a roll, his team's going to win, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not playing well and some of the other top A's aren't playing well and he's on a roll, they're going to win. So, because he can just get on that kind of hot streak.
Well, that kind of changes your draft strategy, because if you're doing strokes, you might take a D that's, getting a huge amount. But now you're probably trying to hit the top of the board with every
pick.
And
you know how I go too, is when I draft in these, I'm like, okay, let me get a guy that's going to help me out. And then I might take a stretch on hey, this is a strictly locker room pick.
Yeah,
right?
It's all vibes. Yeah.
This is for the locker room.
For sure.
They're going to contribute, but they might not contribute to more to someone else, but it's they're going to ride high with us, That's why I always take my boy Scotty, because he's a great cheerleader. He'll make some putts. He might hit a couple shots, and as a D player, he'll contribute, but he's a locker room guy,
Right. Okay. Well, I think that kind of wraps it up for our golf kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We didn't have any pro golf this week. The only thing we do have is some Euro Tour stuff that could impact the Ryder Cup and the Walker Cup's happening right now, which we have on in the background.
I mean, it's awesome though. It's at they're playing the course, the old course, which I think is freaking awesome.
Yeah, anytime the old course is on TV, I will be watching. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah, it's and it's funny. It's like they get some wind, and yesterday I kind of watched a little bit of it, and when this course gets windy, like there's not a lot of protection to it with the new technology, but when it gets windy, like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what protection the course does or doesn't have. But shout out to Austin Greaser, Ohio native, is playing in the Walker Cup from just north of Dayton. He went to Vandalia Butler, so at North Carolina now. So if you get a chance to watch it, or maybe even go back, when this comes out, go back and watch a little bit of it. He lost yesterday, but I think he's up this afternoon. So
yeah, so it's always fun when you can flip on morning golf, especially when it's at the old course.
Yeah,
right? So,
100%.
So Ryder Cup last week, Team USA picks were finalized. We were around. We knew this was a possibility. We hit 5 of the 6 captain picks. I had been on saying for weeks that I thought Sam Burns could be on, almost purely because of the Scotty friend
and I
factor.
think, let's just be honest, like that's...
Yeah. Now, also to your point, though, you were big on I want winners. Sam Burns is a proven winner. Won the match play this year, beat Cam Young, who he got picked over.
And they did bring that up. Zach Johnson brought that up. It's like, he won the match play this year. It's like,
sure,
he beat all these guys. It's like, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, and Rom said that they're like, Rom shortly after the picks came out,
right?
He was like, they're like, oh no, they're like, they told him like, hey, they're out, and he was like, oh, he's like, oh, let me guess who's on the team, and they're like, and he's like, oh yeah, and they're like, and then Sam Burns was the last pick, and he's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. He won the match play this year.
Yeah,
like why would you leave him off? Like almost like nonchalant said that, and that's a guy that's going to be on the other side of things.
And this might be an oversimplification, but like if you look at our team, there's a lot of dudes that can ball strike, and not very many like quote unquote good putters. Sam Burns is actually a really good putter.
Yeah.
So if you're able to pair him up with Scotty, they played together in the President's Cup. Like there's some familiarity there, and maybe he can make some of the putts that Scotty hasn't been hitting. Yeah. That's all good. Honestly, I assume that the picks that were made were done so for like reasons, right? Like maybe to us, Sam Burns doesn't feel like a fit for the course, but maybe they looked at the data and really, he's excellent from the approach numbers they'll see. He'll be excellent off of Scotty's ball. There's things in there that I'm sure the data team factors in.
And that's the thing too, is like, I don't think there was a single pick that
as your dog's hopping in your lap.
Yeah, I got a dog in my lap. But I don't think there was a single pick where you're like, oh, this sucks.
No.
Like, this is stupid. Like, why are we taking this person?
Look, all of the time we spent arguing was about that 12th pick, and you had, 3 to 4 totally logical options you could have taken.
Yep.
And the team's so deep. Like, everyone's inside the top 30 in the world. Like, it would be hard to make a mistake unless they, just went, like, completely off the rails with it.
Yeah, and I mean, the only pick that you could go, oh, this is JT. But, they went through his, in the press conference, they went through his team form, like team record.
He's like
when he
16,
plays in President's Club and Ryder Cups, he's like 16-5-4,
something like that, yeah,
or something crazy. Like he's well over 500. So when you look at that, you're like, look, he's not playing his best golf right now, and he would even admit that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something about these team formats that he just plays well. Like
I
think it was like the President's Cup a couple years ago. When he played with Tiger. Or maybe it was even 3 years ago when he played with Tiger and he was his partner. Like he was kind of limping into that a little bit. Like he wasn't playing his best golf at the end of the year, and he came in and really played well in that. So
I honestly, like you and I were both beating the drum for Ricky for like the entire season. If I look at the team, he's honestly one I'm most worried about. His record in Ryder Cups and team events is not good, and he's been playing kind of shitty lately. If you actually look at it,
a little bit.
So
but
we'll see. I mean, obviously like an all-time vibes guy. And you can probably pair him with anybody and it'll be all right. So.
Yeah. Well, I kind of, the way I look at Ricky is I look at Ricky as in like two different Rickies. You have the one pre-meltdown, not playing, ends up almost losing his card. And then like post. Like, I think the post Ricky might be a better Ryder Cup player. Only because of how his game is now compared to how it used to be.
Sure. Yeah, I see that totally. On the flip side, Europe looking to finalize their team this week. I'm not sure if it happens tomorrow, but like the points cut off after today's tournament.
Yes.
Which interesting development. I just refreshed the leaderboard here. Ludwig Aberg storming the castle, 6 under on the day. He's got a 2-shot lead playing his last hole.
If he wins today, he's definitely
in.
I think he's already on the team. Let's just for clarification, I think he's already on the team. But if he wins, he's like he might even automatically qualify if he gets a win today.
Yeah, I don't think he's got enough points to do that, but
But how are you going to leave a guy that won
I think he was
3
in
weeks
anyway.
ago off the team? You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. We've talked about it. I think he's only because of the lack of depth. I think the European team has. You almost look at it and like, look, he doesn't have enough points, but he is better than all these guys. Like, when you start talking about like their points as far as like under 6, you're like, oh, he might even be better than some of the guys that are automatically qualified right now. So.
Yeah, I think it looks like Robert McIntyre is going to hold on to his auto qualify spot. He's not going to get passed by Bjork or Moronk. I don't think they had good enough finishes this week. So he'll be locked in. It's going to be like, all right, what are those last like 2 or 3 guys? I don't think this will happen, but Alex Fitzpatrick, man, he's currently in 5th place today.
I mean, he beat his brother at the Open this year.
Oh, and his brother's ahead of him in this one, but it feels like
he's so good.
I know.
He's so good.
I would love to see it because it would be so cool to have him on the team, but I just don't think. I think they'll probably take a couple older players.
Yeah, I think next Ryder Cup will be, assuming that he keeps playing the way he's playing, I could see him on the next Ryder Cup being and being a stalwart too. Like he's gonna, his game from what I've watched, like he's gonna be such a good Ryder Cup player. He's gonna be. I think he could end up being one of those guys where like he's on the team and we're like, fuck this. Like, oh, here we go again. Like he's just out there terrorizing people,
right?
Because they always seem to have a guy that does that, and it's always the most under the radar guy too, where you're just like, oh, this, send him out there against Scotty and see what happens, and it's like, and then they end up 5-4 in them and alternate shot or something stupid like that. So,
yeah, I don't know. I think it would be so fun to see him on the team now. Like, get ahead of the curve. Take the young talent, like we said with Ludwig, right? Like, I think it would be fun to have those guys on the team, but I don't think he'll make the cut. So I know we'll see. The teams get finalized tomorrow. Then I think we'll probably dive into our Ryder Cup preview show. Will happen in the next 2 weeks after that, and
I think I'm still going to do my homage to Zach Johnson singles show.
If you want to do that,
he deserves it.
That'll be a special episode then if you're going to do
that.
Yeah,
I'll do that. I'll do that on my own accord.
I can't decide if I want you to do this or not, because if you do it and then they just get their brains beat out and it's just going to be laid at his feet, I'll have so much ammo to be able to pull from.
And that's the risk I'm taking, okay?
Yeah.
But I'm going to take it for my guy. He's always been underappreciated in his life.
Sure, yeah.
Went to Drake. Wasn't even the number one guy at Drake. Wins 2 majors, 5 Ryder Cup. Underappreciated. Hits that little like knockdown and hook shot. Like he hits a swooping draw. It's almost a hook. But I might do it. I will say this though. I want to add one more thing about the European team.
Okay.
I think that where we were, say, 4 years ago, where we're like, it was like a changing of the guard. You got new guys coming in that are going to be part of this team for the next 2 to 3, 4 Ryder Cups. I think the European team's kind of in that same window where you have some of the older guys, right? You have some guys that have experience. You got your Justin Roses and stuff like that. But then you have like your Alex Fitzpatricks, your Ludvigs, your, I would even throw Matt Fitzpatrick in there. Like, he's young.
Patrick and Hovland, like those guys are ascending,
and it's like it's a
players.
changing of the guard. Like, obviously Justin Rose is going to be on this team, and he's clearly a leader of this team. But they're in that same window where we were kind of transitioning from like the Tigers and Phils and those guys that had played in so many of those and then we had like you could see the young guys starting to get plugged in. They're kind of in that window, and I really think 2 years from now that Ryder Cup could be really, really special. Like, maybe even 4 years from now, because then you start having JT and those guys. They're kind of phasing out, and then I think it could be really, really, really special in a couple years. I mean, obviously this year is going to be awesome, but
God, it'll be so cool. I don't want this to happen yet because that means we're old. But like when it's Spieth and JT is like the older generation guys, that'll be such a fun time in the Ryder Cup.
Or when they become like a captain, you're gonna be like, "Fuck, they're my age."
Yeah, that's bad. That I don't want that. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, I just looked at the odds just to see. U.S. hasn't won on European soil, I think, in like 30, 32 years, something like that. They are minus 140 favorites. This is without the teams being finalized. Europe's plus 135. So very, very tight in terms of the betting odds, too.
Yeah. I have a feeling that I think Europe's getting bet a lot. And you even said it the other week. You're like,
dude, just take
the more I think about it, you're like, I kind of want to bet Europe.
I mean, you're betting against 30 years of L's if you take the U.S. team.
I would tell you that I think if there was any team, because there's been teams in the past we've gone over there. I'm like, we have no fucking shot. Like, there's not killers. Tiger were on those teams. Tigers was on those teams, but it's like Tiger just one of the greatest golfers we'll ever see. Like, maybe even ever, right? As far as the talent level.
Yeah.
But he was terrible in the Ryder Cup. He just was. Like, it's not. I mean, it's not a reflection
his
of
singles
his career.
record, I think, is pretty solid. But yeah, all the team stuff, he took massive beatings.
But
sometimes.
but like, there's been teams where we go over there and I'm like, we have no shot. And I felt that way in France 4 years ago. I was like, oh, we're gonna get doused.
Yeah.
Like, it just had that feeling. The team we were going over there with, we still had, like, that was our changing of the guard, right? You had a bunch of young guys coming in that didn't have any experience really at all, and it's. I feel different about this
You
team.
should, too, because the other thing is they kind of blew up the whole system in 2014 after the whole team just hated the Tom Watson experience. And so they went to this whole task force and all that stuff, and they're using analytics now, and they're doing it a smarter way, kind of replicating the European model than they did previously. So I think that automatically sets them up on better footing to have success here. So.
For sure. So,
all right. Well, we'll like I said, plenty of Ryder Cup content to come. We'll talk pairings and bets if we get as we get closer. So from there, because we're getting down to the wire here, 30 minutes to draft time. I think it's time to go to the patio.
Let's do it. I got my Patio Beers hat on today too. I feel like I needed to bust it back out. End of summer, had to bust it back out.
Smart. I love it. Is it me first?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. I was thinking about this yesterday, actually, because after we played and all that stuff, I came home and cut the grass. And I think this is a question, actually, that Susie recommended to me before, too. What is something as an adult that takes up a lot of your time that you, didn't expect?
That's a good question, because there's a lot of things that... I will say this. Yeah, we've moved a couple times. Like, our first house was like a small Cape Cod. Our second house was bigger, but it was still like relative, it was like under 2,000 square feet, but it felt bigger than our first house, and it was. And then we moved in here, like, this is clearly bigger than our first two houses. Definitely cleaning.
Yeah.
Like, when you start talking like you have 3 bathrooms in a house, that automatically adds so much time to your cleaning, what you leave as far as time to clean.
Yeah.
And that's why, honestly, like 2 years ago, we have a girl come once a month, like, just to, like, we can do little stuff, and like if we legitimately clean this house every week, it'd take you 3 or 4 hours.
Right.
Just cleaning the bathrooms and vacuuming everywhere. You know, like it would take you, like when she comes and cleans, like she's a professional cleaner. It takes her 4 hours, and she doesn't even clean the basement. Like just the upstairs and the top floor and the bottom floor.
Yeah.
Like to actually thoroughly clean the place. I think that's the one thing that in my mind going in, I'm like, oh, you can clean for an hour and it'd be good. No, I mean, that's definitely not the case.
Yeah.
I mean, even our old houses, our first house was like super small. It'd take you a couple hours to clean. Like if you actually did it, like dust everything, like go through, like take you a couple hours. You know, that's the one. Especially after this morning, I'm like hustling around trying to clean stuff up. You know, we got people coming over. It was a disaster, and that's the one thing I hate doing too.
I think we're kind of in that period of life where I've started to think more intentionally about, all right, what are the things that I can like buy time on? You know what I mean? Like to your point, having a cleaning person come, like that's something we're looking into because it's like so that could save us 4 hours on a weekend or whatever.
Yeah,
we have somebody that treats our lawn just because like we don't want to have the maintenance on that is tough and takes out chunks of a weekend or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So it's these things that you try to like automate and like just buy your way out of having to do
100%.
And what's worth it. Dude, just cutting the grass and landscaping, like if you want to have like a fairly decent lawn, I'm not obsessive about it, but like we've put a lot of time into just like weeding, like keeping the flowers looking nice, like creating flower, but like creating, mulching and landscaping, just all that stuff takes so much time.
That was going to be my honorable mention, and only because I don't know what it is about our garden and like our mulch areas. I mean, I go through, when I say this, and this is serious, like I go through cans or bottles and bottles and bottles of weed killer a year. Like I'll spray, get them all, and they're all dead. Not even 2 days later, there's like stuff coming back up.
That's
and
crazy.
It's like, that's a big time waste. They really, I mean, look, like I don't obsess about it. Like we'll be in the back today. I already saw like some crabgrass coming up in one of the mulch areas, and I'm like, I don't know what else to do other than like you just have to like live with some imperfections because it just is impossible.
Yeah. Every time the wind blows more than like 20 around our house, I guarantee you there's like 4 or 5 new like big branches that I have to go get, cut them up so that they're, you know what I mean? Just like little things like that even just add extra time.
Yes. I used to enjoy that stuff. Now that I have 3 kids and like I used to enjoy cutting the grass. Like before we had kids, like I was like, oh, this is my time. Like put the headphones in, go out there. And now it's like, I don't know if it's just like me getting older and I just hate it. Like I don't enjoy it. It's a drag on my day when I know like that later that day I'm going to have to go cut grass.
I know.
And like weed and like it's a complete utter drag.
I will say, so I'm debating in my head, that might not even be my number one. Between like laundry and dishes, especially once you start having kids.
It's obscene.
Dude, you do the dishes and then I swear to God, later that night, you'll come back and your sink's full again somehow.
It's obscene.
It makes no sense to me.
Yep. It's obscene how much time. And that's where it's like, I agree with you. And actually, I shout out guy I work with, Dan, about 4 years ago, it might have been 5 years ago. He was just like, you just need to know how much your time is worth. Like, what is 2 hours with your kids worth? What is, 3 hours of an evening, like, especially because I'm in sales and I can work anytime, text stuff, like trying to get business and stuff like that. Right. He's like, what is 3 hours? Like, so instead of leaving the office at 3, you leave it at 5 because you don't have to cut the grass. Like, what is that time worth to you? It's like, once you put a dollar value on it and someone's like, hey, I'll cut your grass for $50, you're like, hey, man, it's 2.5 hours worth $50 to me? Yeah.
Yes,
like,
absolutely. And
maybe sometimes it might not be, right? But like, when he told me about that and started thinking about like how to think about that, you start hiring a cleaning lady. You hire someone to take care of your lawn so there's not weeds everywhere. Like, you start hiring people, like buying time, essentially.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
I thought that was the cool way to look at it.
That's exactly how I'm starting to look at it. So.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. What's your question? Hit me with it.
All right. Football season's here, right?
Yes.
We're doing our fantasy draft. I thought there was no better way to kind of get this kicked off than, I think we've all either thought about or made bets for the upcoming NFL season or college. It can be college too. Like, I'm talking futures bets. So what's your one bet that you're like, okay, I'm either going to place it or have placed it for the NFL as like a futures bet?
So this is not a smart bet, I don't think. But there's been so many boosts and promos and whatever for like Super Bowl betting.
Yeah.
And so every single time I've just hammered the Bengals.
Yeah.
Just because I want to root for it.
Yeah, I mean,
they have a legitimate chance, right?
Yeah, it's not like they went 3-14 last year, and they just drafted a rookie quarterback. Like, they're a well-established.
Yeah. So I've got a few
top tier team in the NFL now.
I've got a few of them at like 9-1, 13-1 with boosts, like different versions of it that I've done. I also, just for fun, Ryan and I put together a couple like to win the division parlays that are like $5 will pay like $1,000, just stupid stuff.
Yeah.
I think just from listening to a lot of content, if I was going to like hammer something, there's a couple I like. I think the Bears over-under is way too high. I think last I saw it was like 7.5. They're plus money under. I would like that bet. I just don't want to have a lot of money tied up for 6 months, basically.
Yeah.
On something like that. The other one, I like the Vikings to win your division. They're longer odds than the Lions. Everyone's on the Lions, and I'm just like, there are some teams in the NFL that just have loser DNA. And I'm sorry, but the Lions are one of those teams.
They are. I mean, they're better now than they used to be. Obviously, I think they have a better mentality.
Sure.
But, yeah. Like,
I just trust I know the Vikings defense struggles.
I think Bengals kind of had that mentality, right? I think it takes a special player.
Yes.
To be able to reverse that mentality.
Like a Joe Burrow.
Like a Jamar Chase. The Lions don't have those. Like, look, Jared Goff's a pretty good NFL. I say pretty good. He's not elite, but he's pretty good. He's not that guy that's going to reverse that mentality. Exactly. Just not.
They thrived last year on the Dan Campbell bite your kneecaps off mentality.
Yep. And eventually that stuff wears off.
Exactly.
So, is that your only one?
That's mine. What's yours?
All right. So mine, I like the Jets to win the AFC East.
I could see it. I think the Bills are being undervalued and forgotten because the Jets are the shiny new thing. But go ahead.
Their defense is incredible.
Yes.
If Aaron Rodgers is even 65-70% of Aaron Rodgers from the past, they have a legit shot at winning that division.
Definitely.
And the odds they're long. I don't know what they are. I think the last time I saw them, they were like plus 700. It just seems like a good bet. And then I also
the Super Bowl or the AFC or there's
AFC
no way.
East.
There's no way they're plus 700.
It's like plus 650 or something like that. Yeah.
If that's true, then yes, you should
think
bet
about who's in the division. New England's always going to be a heavy. Yeah, I know they're not good, but you have New England. You have Buffalo, who's arguably the best, right? The best team and one of the best teams in the NFL. And then you have, Miami, who they've got shiny new toys. They were pretty good last year. That division is going to be tough, and I think it's going to be such a bloodbath. Like the Jets, if they just win the games they should win, actually have a chance to kind of like sneak out on the other side and somehow win that division.
They're currently plus 270.
Oh, okay. Maybe I was
second behind the Bills.
I might have accidentally looked at like this Super Bowl or like AFC champion or something like that.
Yeah. But still, I think that's a fine.
But I just think that division is going to be such a bloodbath as far as like there's going to be a lot of teams splitting in divisional games. That has a legit chance.
Sure. Don't hate it.
All right, let's hang it up. We got people showing up. We got Ryan down here now.
Energy's already negative. I can feel it.
I know. Look at him. He's judging. Look at the baby. Look at the baby.
Oh, my God. All right. I think that's it for Labor Day weekend, right?
Yeah. Let's go draft. Let's go draft the winning game.
All right, cheers.
See ya. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Back 9 Six Pack. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Back 9 Six Pack for all your content needs. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.